good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode. Not a celebrity junk, it's a collaboration, niggas. Don't get mad. And here, man, we're with a talented brother. Let's give him a round of applause real quick. I'm gonna let him explain who he is and what he does. Go ahead and tell him who you are, bro.
Thank you so much, brother. My name is The Lead Attorney. I am a relatively new YouTuber here, and my channel is basically to let people know what's going on in terms of family law. A lot of men are suffering because no one told them what was waiting for them down the road, either if it's in divorce, if it's about child support, child custody, alimony, things of that nature. And there are not a lot of attorneys on YouTube telling you guys what the real deal is. So that's kind of the point of my whole channel, to give you a kind of behind the scenes look at how the law really operates, because a lot of you guys are going to end up in tough situations and you're not going to know why until you got there. You're not going to know how to prevent them, and you're going to see that you're in a world of hurt. So hopefully you can get some information from my channel that will help you avoid some of the traps that are certainly waiting for you if you're a man.
All right, and guys, the lead attorney is the truth. He's a very talented YouTuber. Even Dr. Hassan Johnson was like, man, that brother lead attorney, man, he was saying some stuff. I thought I knew what I was talking about. But brother,
I saw one of the interviews you did with him. I think it was the first one. Man, that brother was dropping so much knowledge. I was like, oh man, he's so deep. He's so deep. I didn't know about him until I saw on your channel. Oh, you really helped.
He's good, man.
People, yeah, because I didn't know anything about him, and that brother's so deep. I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah.
No, it's all good. Like, it's all good. Our boy, man. We know last time we talked, we was talking about Derrick Jackson.
Yes.
Brother Derrick Jackson got caught up in some things. Okay. Now, Paul Pierce, the ex small forward shooting guard, most notably known with the Boston Celtics, won the title in 2008. Was on ESPN. He's a great sportscaster, great commentator. It's controversial, some of the stupid things he says, but he's good, man. He's good, right? And then we have the Instagram. Maybe we could show a little bit of it as we're talking without the twerking going on. But you see, he was doing his thing, and what he did was he was supposed to keep it on closed caption, and he didn't, and everybody in the world saw it. And then he was smoking weed. He had the strippers and all of that. And oh, by the way, Paul Pierce is married. He's a beautiful wife. Hopefully we can show her. 3 kids. He's been fired from ESPN because of it. Paul Pierce has, said that, it's all good. He's not really tripping. He's going to do some great things. But in divorce court, if that video, have you seen the video with Paul Pierce?
Yeah, I actually thought it was a lot worse than really what I saw. I saw maybe it was about a 16-minute video, and I saw, let's say, the majority of it. Before I heard about it, I was like, oh man, there's women walking around here. Nobody's got any clothes on. I thought it was going to be terrible. And then when I clicked on it, it was a woman, she looked about 24, 25, nice looking woman, young woman, giving him a neck massage. Yeah, there were some, a couple other girls in the back, dancing, but it looked like, from what I saw, everybody had clothes on. It was a lot worse in my head than actually how it turned out to be in the video.
Okay.
At least in my opinion.
But in your opinion, but if Paul Pierce's wife, because there are some guys, and maybe we can put some of the comments up. There's some guys out here who are idiots.
It's true.
Fortunately, some of my subscribers are not that smart. Some guys said, this guy's brother Sydney, he looks like an idiot. He says this: "Stadium music. Paul Pierce did nothing wrong. It's too many niggas trying to identify themselves with the rich niggas' problems. Nobody knows his relationship he has with his wife. Apparently, it's not a big deal because he was too comfortable." Okay, Paul Pierce is out there living his best life. So let me ask you this: if he if he's married and he's doing this, what do you? I mean, what do you think can happen if the wife wanted to take it further?
Right. Well, and let me kind of comment on what your last subscriber said, because there is a lot of truth to that. I'm down here in Atlanta, and we have a lot of entertainers, a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes. And what most people don't know is that a lot of the women who marry these men, in this particular sector, right, in the public eye, a lot of these women they're not stupid at all, and they know what the deal is, and there are a lot of agreements about what's going to happen in their marriage. You see what's coming out with T.I. and his wife and all the stuff that they were doing, and they're in hot water for it now, unfortunately, because it looked like some of the women that they brought back to their homes, allegedly, they weren't of age. But a lot of women have agreements. A lot of women participate in it, and a lot of women don't. But they say, listen, Paul, I know what type of man you are. All right, we've been together for a long time, and you have afforded me a type of lifestyle that honestly I would not have been able to obtain by myself. And apart from this lifestyle, we've got these kids, and I know you're a good father. I know you had this thing that happened on your child's birthday, but it was at night. You spent time with the child, your child, our child, and we got a nice thing going. And there's no way that I'm gonna let what I saw on that video interrupt that. A lot of women who have these types of relationships is really just one rule, right? And the one rule is, don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass me. Don't let it get out. I'm not gonna ask. I'm not going to pry. I'm not going to try to get your phone and read these text messages. I can already imagine kind of what's in them, but I can look around, right? I can look around at this $15,000 house with these marble floors. I can look around and see the advantages that these 3 kids have. I could have 3 kids by somebody who worked at the post office making 60 grand. And those 3 kids are vastly different than the 3 kids that I have with you. Right. And so they just have one rule, like, listen, just don't embarrass me. And I think that was his major crime. If you want to talk about what's going on between him and his wife, because again, in the video, it's not like he could have been doing a lot of bad things. It looked to me like he was just playing some PLO. He was just playing some poker. I used to have poker nights in my house all the time. And I know if you don't have some entertainment there, poker can last a long time. You can play for hours. Sometimes it gets a little dry. Sometimes there's some lulls. You want to have some music going. You want to have some food going. You might want to have some entertainment going. I totally get it. And from what I saw, it looked like it was pretty PG in terms of what it could have been, especially considering these men were athletes and they had a lot of money. So I don't really think that the wife is tripping. I kind of agree with your subscriber. Now, if she were to decide, hey, I don't like what you're doing, and I'm going to file a divorce, she would be in her right, of course. Most of the divorce, I think all states now, there's no fault divorce, so it's not like she needs to prove anything. She could just say, hey, I'm done with this, right? And depending on what state he lives in, well, his divorce would be governed by the laws of that state. I don't even know where he lives. Does he live out in California or somewhere?
I believe so. He's from Cali, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure the wife is disappointed, number one, because it does seem like she's getting embarrassed a little bit. People are like, hey, don't you have a wife? And so I'm sure she's getting calls. I'm sure she's getting text messages from her girlfriends like, man, I can't believe he put you out like that. Because, and let's say this, even though what he did was not bad in terms of, what could have transpired, there was just no need to put it on Instagram or post it the way he did. You see a lot of athletes do this, and they're in there. The one guy, was it Antonio Brown? It was somebody that went live in the locker room. They had just won a big game and he went live, and he actually caught another one of his teammates who was butt naked, right? And he's out there shooting, doing the selfie with the video, and the guys and his teammates in the back butt naked. So now people are all talking about, we saw your teammates thing because of what you did. So there's really not a lot of reason for guys to put themselves out this way. I understand that women can garner a lot of social status, a lot of capital by, becoming IG models. They can make a lot of money putting themselves out. you just saw what's the Cash Me Outside girl, right? And she has 17 million followers and generated what, $1 million in 6 hours. Like she can do that. There's no way Paul Pierce is going to be able to generate that type of money doing what she did. So I'm not really sure there was a need for that. And also, let me tell you something about wives. You know, they'll let a lot slide, but when a man stops bringing home the bacon, they got something to say about it. Now, I don't know how much Paul Pierce was making. Let's say he's making, you know, 300,000 a year, 400,000 a year. You know, I'm not sure how much sportscasters get made. You want to say it's 400,000? That's fine. To get fired over an unnecessary video, you know, you had 400,000 coming in. You know, the wife's got something to say about that. In fact, she's probably more upset about that than she is about the video, right? Because we got these 3 kids. The wife probably isn't working, so they were depending on that money. Now, one of the beautiful things that I like about what happened, I think what happened I think overall it's a bad thing for Paul Pierce, but I do love the fact that, you know, like you said, he's not tripping about it. He's like, hey man, bigger things are coming. But one of the things he did say in that short video, the response video to when he got fired, he was like, you know, well, when you take 1 step backwards, then you can go 2 steps forwards, right? So he's kind of saying in there that, hey, me losing this $400,000 job, it was a step backwards. Right. So now I got to find something new. Now, a man with his resume, a man with his career, a man with his knowledge, he's going to have something by tomorrow. All right. Like this, he's not going to be hurting. But the wife is going to be like, listen, you decided to put this online. And because of that, $400,000 that was coming into this house, $400,000 that was going to provide for these kids, it's not coming anymore. Right. So you need to think about what you're doing. Right. So is she going to file a divorce? I don't think so. I don't think what was shown was that bad. And I'm sure, I don't want to say I'm sure he's done worse, but he's an athlete and super high value. Like this man. And you know, back in the 90s, early 2000s, things were wilder back then because we didn't have all this social media. So who knows what has gone on in their marriage, right? So I think if you compare what possibly had gone on in their marriage to this video is nothing. She ain't tripping about the video at all. She's tripping about the $400,000 that stopped coming into the house to feed these kids. If anything, that's what she's tripping on. If she wanted to file a divorce, she could. This video would not necessarily hurt him. It's not like a judge is going to see this video and going to give everything to her because the video really wasn't that bad. It was more of a bad decision making. There was no reason to take the video in the first place. And then if you do, like you said, and do it closed captioned or do it private, maybe a private WhatsApp chat or something like that. But to make a mistake like that and then to cost your family $400,000 a year, it's not a good look. And so, if anything, I think that's what the wife is tripping on the most.
Okay, so I apologize to my commenter that I called stupid. But let's just say if you are the guy who is not Paul Pierce, because a lot of guys, I believe in the comment section, believe that, oh, well, he can be able to do what he wants to do because he makes a lot of money and he's living his best life. So, and there were comments like that. What if you're not Paul Pierce and you don't have that agreement and this comes out?
Yeah. And you know, let's take a step back because again, women do not need a reason to divorce you. All right. They really don't. They can divorce you because it's Wednesday, because it's Friday morning, right? They can divorce you for anything. From what I saw on the video, yes, he was around women in the entertainment industry, right? Yes, he was getting a massage, but getting a massage, you know, that's not adultery, right? It's bad decision making, right? But it would, you know, I didn't see him kissing on anybody. I didn't see him fondling anybody. I didn't see anybody fondling any of his sensitive areas. There was a girl, you know, giving him a back massage. Married men go to Vegas all the time for bachelor parties. Listen, I'm in Atlanta, which is one of the best places in the nation to go for certain types of clubs, right? Married men are filled, and they're in those clubs every night. So, right. So it's not like a wife who is going to get any extra leverage from this type of video, because he could have been doing some outrageous things. I know for a fact that a lot of women there probably would have let him do some outrageous things for money, and you don't see any of that. So the video kind of it's a bad look. Fair enough, because he's married. But again, as a divorce attorney who's been practicing 20 years, I can tell you from my professional opinion, this video is nothing. It
It's
really
nothing.
isn't anything. It's not anything compared to what a divorce attorney sees, compared to what a judge sees. You take a judge who's been on the bench 30 years, and he sees this video. He's going to watch 16 videos. He's going to get mad at the attorney. He's going to get mad at the wife's attorney. Like, why are you showing me this? Why are you showing me this? You know, I got 2 other trials scheduled after you, and you take 16 minutes to show me this. I didn't see anything, right? So the video itself isn't bad. Now, again, it was bad decision making because he's working for ESPN, which is owned by Disney. And if you know anything about Disney, you know, I'm in Atlanta. We got a lot of people who travel down to Disney World down in Florida. Is it Disney World or Disneyland? One of them. And Disney World is famous. They are famous for having extremely strict policies when it comes to men working at that park. You can't have any facial hair. You can't have any tattoos. You can't have any piercings to work. If you show up with the earring, you're going to get laughed out of the building. If you're trying to get an interview down there, you have to be super clean. And so the contracts that he signed, I'm sure they got morals clauses all through that thing, right? Because this is one of the most conservative employers in the nation. So of course, when they see this, they're going to let him go. And then Rachel Nichols she got dragged in it too. And she started trending on YouTube. She started trending on the news too. I mean, he was gone as soon as he pressed record, to be honest.
Wait, so what did Rachel Nichols say? I didn't see that part. What did she say?
Yeah, well, she didn't say anything. She got dragged into it. A lot of people were commenting on her saying, hey, where's Rachel Nichols? And I think there was some backstory about something apart from him, right? I'm not really sure kind of what's going on with that, but there was an issue that came out, I think, a year or two ago about Rachel Nichols and some type of allegations. And so people are asking, hey, you know, this was going on with Rachel Nichols, and now you got this going on. Rachel Nichols, I think she's on the show with him, or
Right.
they have some type of relationship. So she gets pulled in it too, not because, you know, they are they have anything, you know, directly related, but that she had her own history as well, and so she got pulled into it. And it's a terrible look in terms of his employment. I mean, it's way worse on the employment side than it is on the divorce side. But you know, it looks bad that he cost his family that money. Having said that, you know, $400,000 in a whole year to Paul Pierce, you know, he can start a YouTube channel, and in a week, you know, he'll have 100,000 subscribers talking about pick and rolls and stuff. So he can generate money. In fact, you know, I think that this serves as so many lessons to young men. And one of the lessons is, you know, generating your own income, being able to do what you want to do without having some conservative company telling you what you can and cannot do in your off time, right? Because it's not like he was working at the time. It's not like he was on the ESPN set. He is in his house. I think he was in his house. He was in somebody's house enjoying his personal time, and he gets fired for that. That should be a wake-up call to some of you. You know, this is becoming a more 24-hour cycle world, you know, and the delineation between what you do at home and what you do at work is getting blurred. I saw you had the pocket watcher JT on, and he's awesome, and I'm going to get him on my show too, because I want him to talk about the ways that we men need to think about generating our own income, right? Generating our own businesses. You yourself are a big proponent of having our own thing, right? And when you have your own thing, no one can fire you because you're playing pot limit Omaha. No matter who's behind you, no one can fire you because you're getting a neck rub, because you yourself are the boss, right? And so I think that's a huge lesson. Another lesson is being financially stable, where you can kiss off $400,000 and make another video the next day saying, hey man, don't even worry about it. Like, we got bigger things coming. There are a lot of men who will lose their job on Monday and will go straight to the bar and stay there the whole night drinking because they don't know what they're going to do, right? They lose that $45,000 a year job and they're thinking about some horrible things because they got 2 kids and they got another kid from another relationship and they're on child support for that. And they don't know how they're going to make ends meet. So the ability to make a mistake, lose a 400,000, and it could be 500,000. I don't know how much this man is making. Let's just say it's 400,000. And then just the next day to be like, don't even worry about it. I think that's a fantastic lesson for young men to say, hey, if you put in the time, if you put in the effort, you can absolutely do huge things and no one will be able to control your life, because that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing a company that's based in who knows where. They're seeing a video of you and they are ending money that they were sending to you, money that your kids depended on, right? And so that can be a very devastating thing. And what's that showing? That's showing control. That's showing leverage. You know, if you show up in Florida to work at Disneyland, you show up on Monday morning, you better not have that earring in your ear. You better be freshly shaven, tattoos all covered up. You got to be squeaky clean. But what if that's not you, right? You are having to conform yourself to some company standard. And we've all had to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really where you want to stay. You know, if you want to start off, we all need to start off being, W-2 employees and working, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you are in a place where you're trying to transition, as long as you're working towards it, I think that's awesome. You know, Paul Pierce, when he was playing in the league, he was an employee, and he was playing back in the day, before people were getting all these big contracts. He didn't get a LeBron James contract. He didn't get a Zion Williams contract. He had to work hard, and the contracts weren't as big as they are now. And he was an employee. Having said that, you take that money, your employee money, and you invest it, you start other businesses. And so now if you got a little side gig that's going to pay you $500,000, you're like, fine, that's easy money. I'll show up and talk about basketball. I'll talk about basketball at home. I can show up in your studio and talk about it if you're going to pay me $500,000. But the second you fire me over some BS, fine. Because I still got these investments, I still got these other businesses, and I still have the knowledge. Knowledge. I can talk about this basketball on your set and get paid $500,000, or I can start a YouTube channel and talk about this basketball. I can go on another channel. I can go on another studio. You're not the only studio in the world. And so to see this man have all these options when he takes like a step back and say, hey, don't even worry about it, guys. Don't worry about the truth. All right, because I have options, I have knowledge, and I know what I'm doing. For him to take that hit and to just brush it off, it's beautiful. I think that's one of the most important lessons that men need to get out of this, and that's what we need to strive for. That's really what we need to work for, about having our own things. And so I think that's one of the biggest takeaways to this incident.
Which is funny that I said the same thing. I have a video that's coming out. Well, probably by the time this airs, already came out. But yeah, it's the same thing I said on the Paul Pierce Celebrity Junk towards the end of it. But let me ask you this: somebody like T.I., which T.I., his wife Tiny. Let's say you have that kind of relationship like they have, which is unorthodox, I would assume. But you live in Atlanta, so maybe not as unorthodox as we think.
Yeah.
Do you put those parameters into a marriage? Like, okay, we're going to have an open marriage. I can see other people. You can see other people. And, is that involved in like a prenuptial agreement and things like that? Like, how does that work if you have that kind of lifestyle like they do and you want to get that legally documented? Is that something that you can do?
There really wouldn't be a need to legally document it because both of you are involved in it, right? And so it's not like the wife can say, it's not like Tiny, T.I.'s wife can come and say, hey, you slept with all these women. Because T.I. could turn around and say, you were in the bed with us, right? You can't get any leverage if you're involved too. The only type of leverage you can get, if you want to compare, let's say to a Derrick Jackson situation, is that the wife didn't know about the Publix chick. The wife didn't know about the surgeon, supposedly, right? I mean, who really knows what she knows? But let's just assume all this stuff is a surprise. And now you are going outside of what was the agreement. But if you and we go to a club and we have, over the course of a year, invited back 20 women, right? And you drove some of the times you drove the chick to our house, right? You can't say that you weren't involved. And so you are complicit in it. Now, so there's really no benefit to documenting it, because once we go to court, if you try to turn the tables on me, I'm going to call you as a witness and you're going to have to testify. And you're going to testify about all the stuff you did in that bed with this girl and all the stuff you did in that bed with that girl. I mean, you're going to ask me the questions, fine, I'll answer them. But then there's going to be my turn to cross-examine you. And you're going to have to answer the same things. And so really no one has leverage on anybody else. So the fact that you are doing it in real life means that there's no reason to document it, right? No one's going to get more or less based on the activities that you both of you consented to. And there are a lot of marriages like that, and really a lot of those marriages last. what you really don't see is, you don't see a lot of the conservative marriages lasting, right? A lot of the marriages where the husband hasn't slept with the woman in 4 years or 6 years, those don't last. But you got all these clubs down here in Atlanta, and the wives and the husbands, they go down there together and they meet other couples, wives and husbands, and they're having the time of their lives. They're having the time of their lives. You can get on Reddit and you see all of these groups where people are just, having experiences with other people. Couples are having experiences with other couples. You have men going around, and sometimes they're doing it for fun, and sometimes they're being paid, and they're going around and they're servicing couples. It's a lot of stuff going on down here in Atlanta, really all over in the nation, and those are some of the happiest people. You are always going to be happier when you and your wife are on the same page, and there's an agreement as to what's going on, right? You're just always going to be happier. The problem is when there's not the agreement, when there's not the explicit agreement, and one party starts doing something that the other party doesn't know anything about. That's when the leverage comes in. But when there's an agreement, and you're actually doing it in real life, there's no reason to document it down on paper, because both of you can testify, hey, this is what we were doing. So the judge is going to be like, hey, if the wife is doing it and the husband's doing it, then it's fair play and no one has an advantage. And it's just going to split the assets and the debts down the middle, just like any other normal divorce. So basically, you're not going to get penalized because you don't have what you were doing down in writing, because you're going to have to testify to it at any rate. So both parties are going to admit, yeah, we were doing this, and yeah, we were doing that. And if you both admit to it, if you both consented to it, if you both agreed to it, that's perfect.
Wow. Okay. So we have the lead attorney's take on it. It's much different than I expected, but tell everybody about your channel. You come on and done some really great streams with us. I'm really thankful for that. And a lot of guys really, really love what you do. It's a very unique skill set that you have, and you're an excellent content creator. Tell the guys about, what kind of things you cover on your channel and stuff like that.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm really a new YouTuber. I started my channel back in the summer of last year during the quarantine. This was like a quarantine type of hobby. I think that's what they were calling it. But basically, I wanted to start something to help men, right? Because when I go to work, I see men crying. You'll see a 45-year-old man, a 50-year-old man crying in court because of what's happening to him. And and what's happening to him, it's a total surprise. He doesn't know anything about it. And so much of this suffering could have been prevented. And so I want to help you prevent some of the things that are absolutely waiting on you, some of the traps that are absolutely waiting on you, if you make certain decisions, right? And you can come see me when your wife files a divorce and you're already in it. But it would have been so much better for you to come see me, 2 years before, 3 years before, even 6 months before your wedding, right? Maybe 2 days before your engagement, 2 days before you bought that engagement ring. What if you would have came to see me? What if you just would have spent 1 hour with me? It amazes me so much. These women, they go into Kevin Samuels And they're talking to Kevin Samuels, and one of the questions that Samuels asked these women is like, "Hey, have you been to counseling?" And these women say, "Yeah, but I stopped, 6 months ago. I stopped 2 years ago." And what's he always say? He says, "Why you stop? Why did you stop? Why are you not keep going?" But from their point of view, they've been going for 2 years. They don't see any progress. They don't see any help. Samuel says, "Listen, just keep going. It'll work. Just keep going." But then guys, we won't not saying that we should take therapy or counseling, but we won't go talk to one person for 1 hour. Some of these, I'll be honest with you guys, some of these, and this is controversial to say, but some of these people who offer counseling for these women, therapy sessions for these women, and they will sit this woman on the couch and talk about what her uncle did to her 30 years ago, and they will talk about that one event for 2 years. They will have this woman coming in every Tuesday for 2 years. Some of this is a scam. Some of this is a scam. Some of these therapists are paying their mortgage on these women who are traumatized, and these women are wondering, why am I not getting any help? Because some of these therapists are charlatans, right? And they just want to keep scheduling. You keep scheduling, and that's bad. And from the man's side, you should certainly avoid that if you can. However, men won't even go pay 1 hour to talk to somebody about what they're going to do. If you're going to get married, I'm not saying come to me, you can go to anybody, but if you're going to get married, why would you not spend 1 hour to talk to a divorce attorney when it's a coin flip? It's a coin flip if you're going to get married, or if your marriage is going to last forever. It's a coin flip at best, right? But you won't spend 1 hour to talk to a divorce attorney, but then 7 years later, you will be crying because no one told you what was going to happen. Now, your father didn't tell you what was going to happen. Your uncle didn't tell you what was going to happen. Your other older brother didn't tell you what was going to happen. And maybe that's bad on their part, but then maybe they don't want you knowing all of their business. Fine. Everybody's got, their secrets. No problem with that. But you had the opportunity to talk to a divorce attorney, somebody who's going to charge you. Yeah, they might charge you $300 for that hour. They might charge you $400 for that hour. But that $400 would have saved you $40,000 in legal expenses. It would have saved you just nights and nights of crying for $400 measly dollars, right? Meanwhile, while these women are paying thousands and thousands of dollars a year, and who knows if they're really even receiving any help. Right? I mean, there's a reason why women stop going to counseling after 3 years, because where's the progress, right? But you guys, you won't spend 1 hour to talk to a divorce attorney when you make one of the biggest decisions of your life. Deciding to get married, guys, it's one of the biggest decisions you will ever make in your life. And you won't even spend 1 hour to talk to a divorce attorney to figure out what it might look like, to figure out what can we put in a prenup, to figure out, hey, what's the child support going to look like? What about alimony? How does that work in my state? What about the property division? What's going to happen with that? You guys enter into an institution completely blind when it could have been prevented. But your father didn't tell you, fine. Your uncle didn't tell you, fine. Your brother didn't tell you, fine. I'm here. All right. You don't have to pay me $400 an hour. All you got to do is click subscribe, right? And I'm here. And so my channel's relatively new. I only have about 25 videos. I'm just starting up. Thanks to you, O'Shea. You really put me on the map to get me the 10,000 subscribers that I have. So I definitely appreciate that. But that's what my whole video is about. You don't want to pay some attorney in your town $400 for 1 hour? Fine. Just come watch me. Don't pay me anything. Just get the knowledge that I'm trying to get you, and hopefully you will learn something. The comments that some of these subscribers have left to me have been touching because they're learning things, and they're seeing what the future really can look like for them, and they're able to make some adjustments that will save them so much time, so much money, so much stress. If I can save you those three things, then I feel like my job is done. So that's what my whole channel is about.
All right. Well, you've been doing an excellent job. I also want to thank you for coming on. And guys, he's a really talented guy. And so hopefully you'll check him out in the first comment pinned to the top, the Lead Attorney YouTube channel. We'll have it there. And as you know, guys, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. We're out.